Hey, it's Drybear, and we need to talk about the Dragon's Dogma 2 microtransaction situation. The game had its global launch last night and is being played all over the world right now. And while we knew that Dragon's Dogma 2 was not going to be a game that was for everyone, this is coming in full-fleshed today as we're looking at reviews, reactions, review bombings, and lots of discussion and arguments. Now, the core design features that will be discussed in other videos, things like lack of multiplayer, lack of multiple saves, all of those can be discussions for another time. But today I want to talk about the idea of microtransactions existing in a single player game, and when we all woke up to see that there were 22 items available for microtransaction real money transaction purchase for Dragon's Dogma 2, which we know is baseline a $70 USD game with an $80 upgrade that you can pick up for the deluxe edition. And currently right now it is very popular, a lot of hours logged, but it is showing, at least on PC, out of 13,147 reviews at the making of this video, mostly negative. Now, these reviews are all over the place, people that are super excited about playing the game, having a ton of fun with it, and they're knee deep in their playthrough. There's a lot of people that are actually having FPS and performance issues, even on PC. And there's no getting around it. I think that anyone that pays for a full-fledged title and on a modern PC is unable to get respectable FPS or performance is in their right to completely negatively review the game, saying that they're unable to play it specifically, especially if those people are actually meeting the minimum requirements specified by the publisher and developer for the game itself. Now, I so far have had almost no FPS issues at all, but then again, I am someone whose occupation revolves around playing games and talking about games, and so my tax-deductible machine that I've purchased in the last 6 months to be a modern upgrade PC is handling the game just fine. But that does mean that I'm definitely in the minority here, and not everyone is in that position to have a machine that can handle this without issue. In fact, the sheer amount of people that are having FPS concerns dropping to 30 to 40 FPS, even on PC and definitely on console, are in the right to complain. And hopefully we'll see a lot of performance patches coming from Capcom and the developer team to be able to remedy this issue. Now, the other half of the negative reviews is coming around the idea of microtransactions existing for a single player game that is at base 70 USD. You have people making the joke that, hey, Capcom, you can purchase a good review DLC for $199. $199 to edit your character appearance in a single player game after spending $80. Look how they massacred my boy, turned him into a cash grab and murdered his soul. Should have let him rest, but instead you dug him up and waved his corpse around with makeup on like the rats you are. Capcom, you released a $70 single player experience and then you asked $2 for some farmable materials in the game. For what reason? To make a quick buck? It's honestly pathetic. You should be ashamed of yourself. $70 game I could support to ensure fair pay for a good game. However, when you also attach bloatware, buy more crystals, and pay to win gifts to a single player game, I cannot in good faith support that. Now, before we dive into the implications of this, let's look exactly at the DLC purchases that you can make for Dragon's Dogma 2 right now. You can buy 2,500, 1,500, or 500 Rift Crystals, which is an in-game currency that you can spend to buy new pawns or hire new pawns. So you can either go to this Rift Crystal here to hire pawns, and if you hire pawns at or below your level, they cost no Rift Crystals. But if you want to hire a pawn that is higher level than you and has more knowledge than you do or more progression in the world, you'll have to use Rift Crystals to do it. This is the vendor that you can use the Rift Crystals on, and in his shop, he has a lot of really interesting items that you can use the Rift Crystals on. The Rift Incenses changes the behavior of your companions in your party. There's also glasses you can buy just like in the first game, and the big thing that people are getting attached to is the Art of Metamorphosis. This is a special tome that you can buy for 500 Rift Crystals. You can take it to a barbery or a barber and you can change the appearance of your character. Now, many of these negative reviews that are talking about it being 99 cents or $2 or $3 to change the appearance of your character is referencing this connection here. The fact that you can buy Rift Crystals as DLC on the shop, and then you can go in and use those Rift Crystals at a vendor to buy an item that allows you to change the appearance of your character. However, the one thing that they are missing, just to be sure that we're being accurate here, is that you don't have to buy the Rift Crystals at all. In fact, Rift Crystals are a natural part of the game. You get these by completing quests, by killing monsters, and by other people using your companion, your main pawn, that every time your pawn gets used by someone else, you'll get Rift Crystals in return. And so you never have to buy Rift Crystals off the shop, but you certainly can if you want to. So the people that are targeting this specifically, saying this is a requirement and using this as justification to dog on the game, are simply just wrong. So let's strike that from the conversation and move to the next part, to the people that are understandably upset about them even existing in the first place, that the game should be a complete set, that anything in the game should be there, and there shouldn't be any microtransactions at all. Now, I'm of the mind if that something is entirely optional and doesn't have a negative impact on the gameplay itself, I don't have to grandstand or stand on moral high ground to say that it shouldn't exist at all. The microtransactions existing the way they do now don't bother me. But again, I'm also someone who's pretty easygoing on that front. I've also played all the Monster Hunter games of recent release, and all of these had microtransactions of this sort. In fact, almost every Capcom game has had this sort of store for DLC options. The Resident Evil remakes, the Monster Hunter releases, even things like Devil May Cry. In fact, I would go so far as to question why anyone would even want to buy any of these microtransactions, because the items are so easy to earn in-game and are part of the process of just playing naturally. I guess if you really wanted to hire a super high-level pawn at level 1 to clear the game for you, you could buy enough Rift Crystals to do that, or if you wanted to make your fast travel options a lot cleaner right off the bat, you can buy 10 of the port crystals to place all over the map and use them as you see fit, though you're still going to be limited on fairy stones. And yes, you can buy port crystals on the shop for $2.99 USD. You can have up to 10 placed in the world, and these are fast travel locations. You can use these from your inventory, place them on the ground, and then use a fairy stone to travel to any of your available port crystals, and a lot of the major towns will have these as well. You can also buy wake stones fully completed that allow you to bring the dead back to life, which you can use on yourself if you perish in battle, or you can use on NPCs you find that are dead or have died recently in your game playthrough. And for some reason, they've taken all of the deluxe edition items and individually priced them and placed them on the store separately, which by my estimate, totaling is going to be about $4 more than you would have paid for the deluxe edition upgrade, which gave you all these items anyways, unless you wanted to buy multiples of these specifically. But let me know what you think about the microtransaction situation down below. Let's move on to the final topic, which is going to be something that is very confusing, honestly, from any perspective that you want to argue, and that is the idea that you have one single save file, and it turns out with the release of the game, you are actually unable to delete and remake your character if you want to. Some people have found some cheeky workarounds, but if you're not willing to mess with the files, or if you're on console, if you make your character and start the game, your only options are to load your currently created character. Not only can you not make a second character, but it also can't remake your current character, I guess, until you're finished with the playthrough. Now, of course, you can go and earn 500 Rift Crystals, which doesn't take very long, go to the vendor, buy the Art of Metamorphosis, and change your character if you want, and you can very easily change your vocation to anything that you want, and you can undo anything that has been done inside of the character creator for your character if you'd like, by just paying the fee at vendors throughout the game. So it's not as bad as it possibly could have been, but it's also just overall bizarre. Why would you be unable to restart from the beginning if you really wanted to? Of course, there would be tons of reasons why you may want to restart. Maybe you want to experience the intro sequence again. Maybe you just want to get a fresh start in general. Maybe you played for a couple days and you want to just start over again just to re-experience everything you had up until that point. But on top of that, there's plenty of things that you don't know about your character specifically that you won't see until you get into game and view your character. For me, my first playthrough, I'm doing kind of this ghoulish, small, very small stature character, and to make him fit that style, I messed with his posture, his walk animation, and his overall bone-like placement of his arms and legs to kind of fit that playstyle. However, what I discovered when I went into game is that all of the movement and posture sliders go from feminine to masculine. Even though it doesn't say this, that is how it looks when you run into game. And so I actually didn't like the run animation and the standing posture of my character, even though I liked the other parts of it. That just kind of took me out of the experience. And you have to go and make it to the capital city to reach the first vendor so that you can actually go to the barber and change your character and change your posture and all of that. And you have to spend the 500 Rift Crystals credentials to do it. So I was actually trying to remake my character, remake my save to get to that point, but was unable to and had to wait until I got to the barber. So there's definitely situations where you can get stuck and things don't really go as well as they should for a game released in 2024. But what do you think? Are the microtransactions enough to cause an outrage and a mostly negative review on Steam? Are the FPS issues acceptable in this current climate? Are you playing the game or are you not? And if you are you having a good time or are you having a bad time with the game? And what other topics that are springing up right now around Dragon's Dogma 2 do you think need to be addressed? If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.